I understand the large hearts of heroes, the courage of present times, and all times. That is a quote from the book Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman. I wanted to open up this episode with that quote, and I had to re-record this maybe 15 times because I kept sounding like Barbara Walters every time I said Walt Whitman's name, but it was worth it. Welcome to another episode of A Taboo Life, where everyone has a story to tell. I'm your host, Drew Franks, or Frank for short, and I want to thank you guys again for listening. Check out the website, ataboolife.com, where you can read some interesting articles, short stories, poems, because I am that sappy, and other great content too, so check it out at ataboolife.com. Today's guest is Mr. Sean Piper. I recorded at his house, and his two daughters were, or not his two daughters, his daughter and his son were my audience, which was pretty cool. And I want to thank them for listening for 2 minutes. But Sean Piper operates Ghetto Surfboards in Jacksonville, Florida. He makes custom surfboards. He's also in a punk rock band. He is also an Army vet too. This was a fantastic episode. I really enjoy talking to this guy. The last half is where it gets deep because we started talking about war, peace, security, political correctness. It gets deeper towards the end of the episode, which I loved. It was a great conversation. So you guys listen to this, enjoy it as much as I did, and here it is. Yeah. Okay, we're live. All right, guys, I want you to give a very special welcome to. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Sean Piper.
Mm-hmm.
I am, I guess I was asked to do this nice little podcast for a few reasons. I build surfing boards.
Yeah.
And I'm in a band.
Mm-hmm. Like an iceberg is going to get deeper and deeper. Like the tip was the surf.
Let's see, what else? Veteran.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, what else was it? I think that's all that was highlighted in the...
And a father of two kids.
I have a wife.
I'm married.
I think.
I'm wearing a Wu-Tang Clan shirt. Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang.
I wore this to work today, so yeah, I mean, hopefully you can pry some interesting stuff out of me.
No, I think you...
I hold it in, typically.
Well, like, the reason why I contacted you because of obviously The Void.
Mm-hmm.
The Void is a magazine here in Jacksonville. And they have a great article about artists here, and I saw your article. I'm like, man, this guy's freaking interesting. So
yeah, I mean, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. No, you are.
Hopefully for your sake.
All right. So let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
Let's start from the military. What was the story behind that?
All right, so well, I went to a small college in Charleston, South Carolina, called the Citadel, which is it's a military college. That doesn't mean that you have to go into the military afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I believe my graduating class, only maybe 33% somewhere in there went into the armed forces, and that's all 4 branches:
mm-hmm.
Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps. I chose the Army. My father was in the Army. That's not entirely why I chose to do that, but I knew that the job market, I was getting out in 2004 from college. The job market was kind of like not working in our favor. Mm-hmm. So I decided the easiest route would be just, let's just go in the Army. It felt familiar, Exactly,
It's a job. It's
I don't have to
money.
look for anything. I just sign this piece of paper. So, I mean, it wasn't like, of course 9/11 happened. Mm-hmm. I was a sophomore in college, and that wasn't any kind of motivating factor or anything like that. It was more probably I was afraid of being alone or something like that, like being off to my own devices.
Oh, being like basically being independent
exactly, being an adult.
Like, crap, I can't drink at in the morning no more.
I don't know what to do. I don't know. Yeah, so I mean, growing up, I was under control from my parents. Not that they were super strict, but mm-hmm. They were like kind of funneling me in certain directions. I went to the Citadel. I mean, you do what they tell you to do. Live on campus for 4 years. Mm-hmm. And then, so I'm like, I just would rather just continue, like it was the easiest path. Like, might as well, So I went in, and I think out of my graduating class, and this is probably going to sound silly, but I was the first one out of my classmates to get deployed to Iraq. Mm-hmm. And it was like a weird circumstantial type thing. I graduated May of 2004. Within 8 days, I think I was at our little officer basic course. Mm-hmm. And then within a month of getting out of that, I was in the transportation corps, nothing
too
sexy,
heavy.
Nothing like I'm going to go, shoot guns or ride around in tanks or anything like that. So, those kind of service related parts of the Army mm-hmm. had shorter basic courses, so it was only like 4.5 months, and then within a month of graduating that, I was on an airplane to go to Iraq. So yeah, I mean, so I don't know, it wasn't anything I really thought of. It just, you'd be here at this time, you'd be here at this time, you'd be at the plane at this time, we're gonna, like, so it's just like following the thing, and then I ended up doing 2 tours in Iraq, which I would have preferred. I would have not enjoyed going to Afghanistan.
What was the difference at the time? Like, was it more Afghanistan more wild at the time? More dangerous?
Probably, I would say so. I mean, just a lot more terrain out there. Mm. And my first tour in Iraq, I was basically driving around the desert. We were running fuel, which sounds kind of scary. Basically just driving gas trucks across the country.
Okay, could be bombs on the floor.
I mean, we were driving.
They've got one big bomb attached to us.
Right, exactly. We get caught in traffic or something, and you see one of the Iraqis like, should have just brought my RPG today. Oh, man, look at all of them. So that was one of the jokes we would make if we normally ran at nighttime to avoid that kind of stuff, but mm-hmm. a couple times if, something went awry during a mission or something, we'd be coming back like during rush hour or something like that, where these guys, the guys and girls are going to work in the morning. Yeah. So just thinking back, it's kind of sketchy, but it's just like flat, I mean, you could see at times for miles, man.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I
mean, there are some mountains, and I saw some snow and stuff like that.
Was way in a distance, right?
I mean, for the most part. I mean, up north it's mountainous, and out west towards like Syria and stuff, it's kind of higher elevation. But for the most part, it seemed flat to me. So,
shit.
But yeah, so I mean, it seemed like much more stuff could get serious in Afghanistan. Like people shooting down from
the mountains
and stuff like that, and like the roads are. I guess it's probably just a smaller country in general. I don't know, kind of heavy, but my second tour was pretty lax. I basically sat behind a desk, like a desk jockey is what they call it,
I got the best job right now.
I know. It was sick because, I was engaged at the time, so she was stoked, I mean, I'm not going, the only time I left the base was to get on an airplane or a helicopter to go to like some random spot to help people with their little job. But nothing serious on the second tour. And it was longer, so I don't know. It seemed longer. It was longer, and it seemed longer because, I'm like wanting to get back home for her. And I mean, I just sat at the desk.
Oh, yeah. Like you're just... your mind's not occupied. Like you're just counting the seconds.
Exactly. Yeah, and you're like, another meeting, like
one more day passes.
Right, like a staff job, It'd be like being a beat cop versus being like stuck, at the headquarters or something,
Yeah, you're gonna sit down and just,
and that's all you do is just sit there and like.
Okay, well, I guess I'll file this paper today.
Exactly,
salute this guy. Like, right. Then you go do your own like little. Your own little ritual.
Yeah, like gym, and that's pretty much all we did. Or all I did. I mean, some of the other folks, I don't know what they did, but I just kept to myself. I just can't wait to get out of here, And I knew as soon as that one was up, I was gone.
You were done.
Because I was active for 4.5 years. And 27 months of that, I was in the desert, so like more than almost, actually that's probably right at half of my active duty time was spent in the desert.
Oh, man.
So not like heavy, I don't want it to sound like it.
No, I know every person, every service member goes through their own story, and he's still doing a brave job, but yeah, I think people gotta understand, like.
There's different jobs.
There's different jobs.
Yeah.
And, like, not every job is going to be firefights. And,
exactly. I mean, I had my fair share of, like, like, shit, that was close. Like, seeing tracer rounds go across or, like, I had a couple IEDs, like, go off on our convoys and stuff like that. But it never, like...
Any close calls? No?
Just close calls. That's it. So, no damages on any... convoys. We had an RPG attack, and you could see like the little
the smoke, the stream.
The little like it's firing off.
Holy crap!
But I mean that didn't even come near us. It was like we were already gone by the time it crossed where we were.
Damn, but it's still scary though. It's like, whoa, look at that!
I know. It's like hey, we got an RPG back.
All right, guys, you know what to do.
Let's just press that gas pedal or the diesel pedal. All those trucks are diesels. But yeah, it was to say it was nerve wracking, but it wasn't like overly scary. I wasn't like freaking out every time I'd go out on the road on my first tour. It was kind of like. I mean, I was 21, 22 at the time, so it's like...
Oh, yeah, that's pretty young.
This is going to be kind of rad,
It's like, damn, I'm going to do it.
Right.
Let's be a veteran.
Let's go do this, But it's strange being that young and being... Because I was an officer. So, like, I mean, guys that were my age were, like, privates, and I had, so I'm, like, trying... weird, like it was a weird dynamic because like if you're at home you can go home and like be away from everybody, but we're all there together, so it's like they get to see me being kind of foolish and like, hey, this guy's like kind of normal, and I tried to draw that line, but it was a tough type of situation.
Yeah, it's hard to do that when you're close quarters with the people you're supervising. When I was it's nowhere near the same comparison, but when I was working for Disney Cruise Lines, I had also an officer position or a supervisory position,
Mm-hmm.
and you had to have the Disney attitude, and you had to act a certain way. And I was on the ship for like 3 months at a time, and I just couldn't do it. After a while, I was like, man, if I love to curse, I can't curse. Then like a lot of these people, a lot of those employees are rats. They'll rat you out.
Oh man,
they'll rat you out like for no reason.
Dude,
like,
I could not. Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like try and keep that separate, or like still be that leader,
right?
But also like you have a personality
exactly. Too. Like I'm not a robot here, guys. So, but yeah, and then managing folks that are like almost twice your age, and like I don't know, it was cool. I learned a lot. I don't hate my decision for doing that.
Mm-hmm. But you'll never do it again, right?
I hope I don't. Am I old enough? Am I old enough just to not have to go back?
Don't start World War III, please. Don't start World War III. I don't want to be called back in.
Right. Exactly. Once you sign that line, though, I mean, you're just another number.
So. Man. So what happened after you left?
After I got out, I basically moved right down here and got married. So like, not that I'm controlled, but like
it's like step A, step B.
Right.
Now we're going to C.
You're with your parents. You're at like a military college. You get in the military. You are now married. I wouldn't trade that for the world, obviously, but it's just basically like, I don't know. I guess it was what I thought was supposed to happen.
Mm.
So yeah, I basically, I was stationed in Savannah.
Oh.
Which was nice.
Yeah, that's why I used to live at when I was a cop.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was a cop there, so.
Okay.
Yeah, Savannah's not. I tell people don't live there, but it's nice to visit.
It is nice.
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Days and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it's fun.
But yeah, so I live between Whitmarsh Island and
mm-hmm.
Tybee.
Okay, yeah.
And then so once I got back, I was stationed at Hunter on the airfield, and then so I came back and moved down here. I was basically homeless, So we got a spot down here. Got married within maybe 2 months of me coming back, and 5 years later, 6 years later, I think we had our first kid. Well, at least I waited on that part.
Yeah, like yeah, like it was a good thing. One of my friends, like, he had his kid quickly, and he was like, "Man, I kind of wish I waited."
Yeah,
and the other one who waits, like, "Yeah, I'm glad I waited."
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely. I think like you get to know your spouse.
Yeah.
When if you're thrown into the kid like almost immediately, it's tough.
Mm.
I mean, like we are real tight, and we have our moments. It's like no.
You're both like snarling at each other,
right?
Like, come on, you know what you did.
So, but yeah, I started with the surfboard stuff. I started shaping the boards when I was in high school.
Yeah,
and I basically stopped when I went to college.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't stop surfing. I just stopped doing that part of it, and then I picked back up when I moved down here in 2008. So, and then I started doing all of it in 2012.
Oh,
like yeah. So I don't know, 98, I think is when I first did my first one.
What
I never wrote stuff down back then.
What did you use for material?
Basically, I mean, just the standard was called a blank.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you wanted to see one, I'll show you one after this. But,
yeah, I was going.
I mean, you can't see it, but
no, I was going to ask you if I could take a couple pictures upon Instagram
sure,
for the show.
Yeah, so absolutely.
Check that out later.
So I mean, they're all different looking, and they have different what's called plugs and stuff like that. So basically, the standard materials and my tools is what was not impressive. I was basically using like a cheese grater. It's called a Sureform or Surform, or I don't know how people pronounce it, but it looks like a cheese grater, and that's basically what I was using to
actually shape the board.
Yeah.
How long did that take?
A few hours.
Shit.
Yeah.
How long does it take?
Like 6. You know.
How long does it take now when you use the proper tools?
Maybe about an hour and a half.
Oh, well, that's actually pretty quick.
Yeah, it's not too bad. But then, yeah, I mean, it's like a process. So then you like put the fiberglass on that. You got to wait for that to cure and do the other side, and then paint like other stuff on it. So I mean, it takes a little while to get one built.
Yeah,
like where you could take it out and put it in the ocean.
Actually, you know what? Just for the fun of it, talk us through the process of actually doing a surfboard, because I always thought that was interesting. Like, what's the first step?
Yeah. Well, it depends. For the most part, you basically come up with an outline of what it's going to look like, cut it out on the blank, and then you basically shave it down. I'm trying to use like layman's terms, you know.
There's more technical terms.
If you are into this kind of stuff, please don't, I have a decent grasp on what I'm doing.
I know what I'm doing.
I'm just trying to explain it.
Not everyone's going to know what I'm saying.
Right,
if I use the
exactly.
Real terms.
So, come up with the outline, cut it out, shave it down to how thick you want it, and then like you start doing the rail contours.
So is the board, when you get the board, is it just one long piece of fiberglass, or
it depends. So you can either use polyurethane foam, which is what I use, or you can use polystyrene foam, which is basically like it's styrofoam.
Okay.
And you'll see it in just a little bit, but a polyurethane foam, I mean, they're both relatively like dense. It's like a beer cooler.
Oh.
To an extent. You know, like the ones you find in like Winn-Dixie.
Yeah, Walmart or something like that.
So it's denser. It's not like so
flexible,
squishy.
Yeah.
And then you put the fiberglass on it, and then resin. They call it laminating resin, and that's real sticky. And then on top of that, you put sanding resin, or you add stuff to the laminating resin called like it's a wax or surfacing agent, and it makes that hard shell. You know, if you look at that, basically like the shiny bit on that one that's sitting right there.
Ooh.
It makes it hard, and like that's when you can start. You could take it out then, but you want to sand it down and get all the bumps out and stuff like that. So it's a process. It's fun. It's it's interesting. I mean, I've been building boards 6.5 years now or whatever, but every time I do it, I learn something new. So it's like, I mean, I don't do it for a living, so obviously I'm not like doing 10 boards a day or like 10 boards a week even, so
just do custom ones.
Exactly.
Like, hey,
right.
I'm going to charge you this amount of money because this is custom.
Exactly. So
what type of artwork do you normally do with the boards?
Pretty much it's anarchic, if you will. It's just completely random. So if somebody if you were to say, hey Sean, I want you to do like I like the colors green, blue, and yellow, which, you know, I guess the blue and yellow would make green eventually. But, you know, I'd get like 3 different colors, and like I'd put them all basically on the board together and just let it do its thing. And we'll get closer to some of them. Like you can see like how it basically it does its own thing. Really, I mean, so you mix up the colors a little bit, not like fully mix them, but like pour them all in together and kind of swirl the cup and just dump it on. And it does some really cool stuff. So it is like I don't use any paints or anything like that. So like my stuff isn't like precise, you know. So if somebody was like, I want a painting of like Johnny Cash or something like that, I couldn't do that.
It's like, well, we'll get you a decal.
Right. I'll get you a sticker, like print out something and like slide it in there. But yeah, I mean, so it's, my stuff is basically at random. And I think for the most part, people that know what they're getting, they already know that, you know. They don't see me and like, I want it perfect, you know. Because that's not what they're going to get.
They want something unique.
Right, exactly. Ideally, you know. So, and a lot of the stuff that I do, I couldn't replicate, you know. I could do the same colors, but it wouldn't come out exactly the same.
Well, that's a good thing about like small businesses and people like you do. You're providing like a product that's not a cookie cutter. Like, this is not made in a factory. Like, hey, this is a handmade. It's freaking awesome. It's custom. Like, there's no other board like that in the world.
Right. I mean, that's it. You know. Shit. So it's super fun. I mean, like, if anybody out there is a surfer or into skateboarding or into doing anything like that with their hands, it's I definitely recommend it. It's a humbling experience the first time you do it, at least shaping one. And you can shape. I mean, if you look over there, you see like something peeking out behind that shed.
Yeah,
that's my old rack system, and I used to do it right here where your computer is. I would shape my boards right here in the backyard. So, I mean, you can. It's not super environmentally friendly by doing it that way, but you can do it in your backyard. And that's what I do.
Sorry, I had a little gas.
It's the water.
It's the water. Have you ever made wooden boards?
I've tried that? I've glassed one for somebody. I've thought about doing it.
Well, what kind of wood would it be, though?
I'd
need something light, but durable.
I'd like to use balsa. It's super light, and that's basically what they were doing back in the 50s. It's real light. It's nice to work with. It's not overly dense and overly hard. But if I was going to do it, like, because I don't know that I could source that locally, but if I was going to do one, I'd probably do like cedar. Or something, and like route out whole, you know, it'd be a pretty painstaking process, but like basically hollow it out.
Yeah.
Like take planks of cedar and then, you know, hollow out like, I don't know how you would explain it. Basically just like, so you've got the wood and then like in the center of it, just like holes.
Okay. Because I'm picturing it in my head right now. What was the holes used for? I know just
to lighten it up.
Oh, just lighten up.
Yeah, lighten it up. Because you know, cedar heavy. Would be. Yeah, I mean, if it was 100% cedar, it's gonna be
too heavy.
Super heavy.
Be a cool board though.
It would. It would look nice.
You could fuck up some sharks too.
Or some pedestrians.
Yeah, I had a longboard. I recently sold it because I wasn't using it as much. But it was a 9-footer. It's like, yeah, like 9.5 feet. I tried to use that here in Jacksonville. It was just too, most of the time the waters were too flat.
Yeah,
it's like I'll be out there for like 2 hours, like, huh? The one wave I tried to catch,
you have to keep your finger on that pulse, man. Like it comes and goes out here, but I don't know. Sometimes it's kind of compared to like Savannah, like Tybee.
Mm-hmm.
It's tremendously better, if you can believe that. So,
I surfed in Daytona. I only did it here in Daytona, and Daytona was when I first started doing it.
mm-hmm.
And surprisingly, I had good waves, which I was surprised about. I'm like, oh, this is pretty decent. So, and I went to a class and do it.
Right.
Man, this is pretty fun.
It's super fun once you get the hang of it. And like I said, if you pay attention to like the forecasting sites and stuff like that, you can get it dialed pretty good. You know, weather patterns and all that kind of junk. So
yeah, I kept thinking about like next hurricane, like I'll come out here before the hurricane hits and then see if I catch an actually decent wave.
It's possible.
So, on top of the surfing, you do a punk rock band too, right?
I'm in a band, yeah. It's I like to call it up-tempo rock and roll.
Up-tempo rock and roll?
Because, you know, like, I don't know, I think a lot of people that aren't in the scene,
mm-hmm.
you know, like that, you know, like if I was to go re-meet my father-in-law or something, he's into music and stuff like that, and if he was to ask me, hey Sean, I heard you were in a band, what kind of band, like what kind of music do y'all play? And I'd definitely say up-tempo rock and roll, you know, because I feel like if I said we play punk rock music, he'd be like, ugh. Or, you know, like
up-tempo. Like when you said that, I was thinking about like the 50s music. It's like, dude. That's what it sounds like to me.
Right?
Oh!
Right, exactly. So, you know, like I try to, you know, dispel the old preconceived notions of the punk rock. And, you know, so we tend to play loud and fast. So it's super fun, just like everything else. We're gonna have spectators here in a second.
Yeah, his kids are open. We're outside on his patio, and his kids are opening up the windows and the shades to the windows,
screaming at me, being all crazy.
We have an audience.
Multiple windows to look out of.
Not what position? What instrument?
I play the bass guitar.
Ooh.
A lot of the stuff that I feel like I do, I didn't start playing music until I was in college,
mm-hmm.
and my first inclination was to go to the bass because the guitar was too scary. The bass is like the easy guitar.
Yeah, I have
to an extent.
I have an acoustic guitar at home and I haven't touched it in a year.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to teach myself how to do it. I was able to do one Coldplay song well, and that's it.
It's hard, man. It's hard. And that's honestly that's one of the reasons that I started trying to play in a band, like in a band like what I do now,
mm-hmm.
is because nobody knows. I mean, eventually you start playing them over and over again. People started to pick up on your music, but nobody knows if you meant to hit that, you know, like the A chord or like the C chord, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, this is my song, you know? I'm playing how I want, you know? Like if I was to play Bob Marley.
Yeah, I have to do that exactly.
You know that's not the way it sounds, you know? Like if I hit the wrong chord, you're like, oh. Yeah, you know, he can't play that song. You know, so
get off the stage.
Exactly.
You hit the wrong chord.
Right. So I mean, you know, like if you come up with your own music, then you don't have to worry about.
Well,
you know, like
I meant to do that.
Exactly.
It's like, yeah, I screwed up. Like you know, it's how you screwed up.
Right.
But like, I meant to do that.
Right. Just play it off and keep going. You know? And a lot of times it's too fast for people to pick up on it, you know? Unless they're musicians, like, oh, yeah, I heard that. That didn't sound right.
Tick.
That was flat. Or, you know, like, whatever. But yeah, so we've been in this current band. We've been together for about 3.5 years. Played with some pretty. I mean, I say pretty big bands. Pretty in our little group, mildly big. You know, like some of the people that are into punk rock would know, like Agent Orange, which has been around since like 78 or 79. Guttermouth. Yeah, no,
all
like
these awesome
silly
names. All these awesome names.
I mean, my band's called the Concrete Criminals.
That seems a little bit more tame than Agent Orange,
right? And you know, they right after the Vietnam era, you know, so they're trying to like grab attention, you know. So that's where they, you know, get their name, and they're also from Orange County.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
That's another thing, you know. We haven't really ventured out in this band. We haven't ventured out too much out of Jacksonville, but playing at places that we really like Kona Skate Park and a lot of the smaller venues around town. You know, it's definitely a fun, interesting experience. Late night stuff. You know,
what places do you normally play at?
Some of the places like a place called Rain Dogs.
Yeah, I've been to Rain Dogs a couple times.
Nighthawks, Shantytown, which is up by near Shands Hospital. You know, just outside of Springfield. I guess that's part of Springfield. I don't know, like the little divisions of Jacksonville.
Yeah,
But the Harbor Tavern in Atlantic Beach.
Harbor Town. Yeah, that one.
Basically, I don't want to say hole in the wall type places, but like smaller places that have live music, you know.
Yeah, well,
or that'll allow, you know, punk rock and metal type bands to go in and play, you know, and do their own thing. So
punk rock,
yeah, you know.
Yeah, I mean, crazy punk rock stories. Did you break a guitar yet? On stage?
No, I've tried.
Did you really want?
Slamming the neck down on something, you know, just to be silly, you know, like kick over the drum set or whatever, you know. Like,
let's go to a garage sale, buy like a $20 bass guitar,
just slam it down.
So that way you don't have to feel guilty about it. Like
that, I mean, it would have to be like a special type deal, you know, like that's all been done before, you know. You can't do that stuff anymore, you know. But I've seen guys do that, and I've never had the heart to like just take my bass and just throw it up in the air and just let it hit the ground, you know?
Like, no, that's a lot of money. That's a lot.
Not doing that.
Let's put it down, Jeff.
Right. Exactly. But I mean, there's a lot of good bands around here. I mean, not just in our little group, but there's so much talent in this town, man.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm starting to find out as I do this episodes. This is for everyone who's listening. I live in Jacksonville, Florida, and you think Jacksonville, Florida, and I think it too. Like, there's not a lot going on around here, but the more and more I do these episodes and venture out, I find like, oh, there's like really some unnoticed talent around here.
Yeah, little pockets. I mean, it's
and like actually nice places to go to, and really interesting people here. It's just they're not seen yet.
Right?
It's like, yeah, oh wow, like the whole punk rock band and the surfboard thing. I'm like, man, there's some actually really cool people here.
It's
in Jacksonville.
Weird. Yeah, I mean, it's so strange because it's so big.
Yeah, it's Jacksonville's the largest city land-wise in the United States.
Yeah, which is...
But it's a small population, too.
Right. It's so big, but really small. You know, like you said, just not huge in population. Yeah, but, and it's like little pockets of, you know, like, stuff going on.
Yeah, one thing I'm starting to notice, like, because when I lived out... My parents brought me out here when I was... Ooh, excuse me, I had some more gas. They brought me out here when I was 11. And when I went to high school, there wasn't really a lot to do out here. It was just... You go to movies, or if you're old enough, depending on the bar, they could let you in.
Right.
And even the bars weren't that good. And now you have more of these. Now Jacksonville's starting to get like more mom and pop places, like local places, and that's actually starting to grow more.
Right. People are starting to get on, sink their teeth in that local vibe.
Yeah, because do you really want to go to, when you come visit Jacksonville, or you just are going on like a Friday or Saturday night? Do you really want to go to what's a chain restaurant here? Do you want to go
like the Chili's? Or
do you want to go
like
Chili's and drink, or do you want to go Carrabba's?
Right.
Like no, it's actually starting to get character now, which is good. And that was missing with Jacksonville a couple of years ago. There was no character out here. There's nothing that. It was kind of like soulless in a way. But it's getting better.
I like it. I mean, it's strange. I'm from Jacksonville, North Carolina. So it's like, and we had Atlantic Beach and stuff like that. So it's
the twin.
The anti-twin, basically. It was like, so Jacksonville, North Carolina is like a Marine Corps town. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really relate to here because I don't feel like the Navy is like dominant in this town. The reason for Jacksonville, North Carolina is basically because of the Marine Corps base that's up there. Mm-hmm. Camp Lejeune. It's like a lot of the Army towns you find in like Fayetteville. They're basically dominated by the Fort Bragg that's there, and so it's like that place is small, and then I get down here and it's really big, a lot more people, but it's still like a small town vibe. It's like I don't feel like I'm out of place or anything like that.
Like here or other Jacksonville?
Yeah, here. Like I don't know. I feel like if I was to go like New York or something like that, I would be lost. Like
yeah, I was born in New York, and I can never imagine myself living back there. It's just, I like the trees. I like seeing trees and air
outside of Central Park, and
I don't want to be constantly surrounded by concrete.
Right, the buildings and man, all that steel. I mean, New York is Manhattan's sick, and like Brooklyn and all.
Yeah, that's freaking cool.
Rad, but like I would not want to live there.
Like I think it's just all depends on the person,
right?
Because I know if you bring a New Yorker out here, they're probably going to hate it.
Yeah, where's the city?
It's like there's nothing you freaking do.
Right?
It's like wait, well, you can't walk anywhere.
What train are we gonna get on?
There's no train.
Right.
Oh my God. One thing that is getting better out here too is the food. That's one thing. New York has some great food. It's hard to find like a restaurant that isn't good in New York. That's within walking distance. But at least out here in Jacksonville, that's actually starting to get better too.
Yeah, and like the beer breweries around here are starting to pop up, and it's pretty sick. I guess that younger folk crowd, like
the one that you play to.
Exactly.
All right, we'll go to Ray-Dons.
Ideally. Yeah, I mean, just to bring in, like the new feels around here, and people are stoked on it. It seems like, like my buddy Eric, he was brewing for Green Room. Mm-hmm. I think he still does. But he just opened a new brewery called Rev up in Mayport. Mm. It's not Mayport. It's Atlantic Beach. It's off Mayport Road. And I mean, he's like getting a lot of traffic in there, which is sick. I mean, it's like brewing his own beers and just killing it. So like there's all that kind of stuff popping up, like
Jacksonville does have the buildings for it too. Like these nice old abandoned buildings.
Yes, downtown is, and that like it's so weird, man. Like, I feel like I'm saying downtown, but I'm not using the right language. Like I feel like downtown is also San Marco, which is also Riverside, which like Avondale.
There's so many like little parts of Jacksonville. It's like, no, this is not downtown.
Right?
Like, wait, this not makes sense.
Right.
There's too many.
So every time I'm like downtown, I'm thinking of like a different sub section of what I would consider downtown, like San Marco and Springfield and the Elbow or whatever they're calling it down there. Bay Street and somewhere else. I can't remember what. There's a lot of venues down there, like 1904. It's like off of Ocean Street. My band played there one time with some New York band called Agnostic Front.
Agnostic Front.
Yeah. Pretty rad, actually. But there's a lot of cool stuff going down there.
Yeah. Well, go back to the punk band stuff. What was your kind of like inspiration going to punk?
I started getting into it. I was dating this girl prior to her that was into that music, and I was into stuff like Wu-Tang and
Wu-Tang.
I was into like hip hop and stuff, and strangely enough, like jam band, like Grateful Dead and Fish and weird stuff like that.
Yep, that's complete opposite. Not the complete opposite, but two very separate.
I know. Trust me. Like I think back and I'm like, man, mine all over the place. Or like I still have an iPod that I'll put in my car and I'll play, and like just like I put it on shuffle and like the most random stuff comes up. Like, man, yes, dude, I remember this.
I remember this song.
Like, not punk rock, but so she started getting me into it, and this was like 99, 2000. Like I was getting out of high school at the time, and then I just started picking it up on it. Like she was into the poppier stuff, like Blink 182 and Face to Face, and
Blink 182 was punk.
Was I mean, like it's like I know it's all convoluted. Like there's like so many different like.
Yeah, I'm not talking bad about Blink 182.
No.
I love Blink 182. I just
I
didn't know. I never classified them in my head.
I know. So they're like what's called pop punk. Mm-hmm. Like I guess just like that up tempo rock. Like playing faster than like what was on the radio and stuff like that. In like the late 90s, but she was into that kind of stuff, and then I basically just ran with it, and like started finding harder and harder stuff to listen to, more aggressive, like playing in a different key instead of playing major chords and stuff, which I didn't even understand really until like last year, so I don't know what I'm fully talking about with playing different chords and stuff. I'm not a musician, I don't want to like.
You're more musician than I am. So.
I play music. I'm not a musician. But yeah, so I started getting into that stuff. It started like getting me hyped to go surfing or skateboarding or whatever. Like get that aggression going. Which is also a sick band if you get a chance. Aggression.
Aggression.
From
pick out your punk name.
Cali. Yeah, exactly.
Pick out the punk name.
Which is a punk name in the following sentence? But that's where I started getting into that kind of music, and then when I started playing music, it's easier for me to play faster than it is for me to like play like a reggae bass line or something like that. Because I feel like there's a lot more talent that goes into the reggae bass line than, like I'm just basically pick one fret, one string on the guitar, and like you just do that there, and like you basically have a song,
What string?
All right, guys, one but you and I
one note,
generalize it and say press, what button do I press? Like what, like my guitar is just playing something. I'm like, what buttons are you pressing over there? And he's like, well, like he'll break it down for me, so. But then I started writing my own chord progressions and stuff like that, and then I started like, hey, maybe throw some words into this, and went from there.
Mm.
So I was in a band called Poor Richards before this one.
Actually, that's actually a pretty good name, though.
Benjamin Franklin, that was his little pen name or pseudonym or whatever.
Yeah, he had that one, and
he did
the female name.
Yeah, I can't
remember.
I mean, I read something about it. And I was like, that is sick. And then obviously, like the penis reference. Like Richard.
Yeah, Dick, poor Dick.
Right. Oh, shit, there's just a shooting star.
I've been seeing.
That was sick. Sorry.
No, I've been seeing now a lot lately.
I saw one. I thought I saw one the other morning. I was out here and I was like, holy shit. But, it was like right behind the trees.
Well, like, this is the first time in, like, years I've seen... I'm not sure it's because of, we're going to the winter season, so our part of the planet's further away from the sun. So I'm trying to use some science, but, like, I don't know, it's kind of weird. Like, lately, it's just, there's been a lot of shooting stars out here. I've been seeing them.
When you just look up, it's like a period of time. If it's clear,
If it's clear.
If you get away from the city.
Yeah.
All the lights.
So, Poor Richards, man.
Oh, yeah. Poor Richards was playing with that band for about 5 years. And that was a fun experience and learned a lot, Started writing my own music for that. And it basically spiraled from there. It's like one of those things that, like, you start doing and you can't stop. Like, I feel like if I stopped playing music, I'd be like, I don't know, failing at something,
No, I get it. Like, it's kind of like this. What I'm doing right now is the same thing. Like, I feel like I have to do like 1 or 2 interviews per week now, and I feel wrong not doing it.
Right?
It's like, man, I actually love doing this.
It's kind of neat.
I want to make this fucking work.
And you meet people.
Yeah, like, well, I don't know, today's world, it's kind of a very lonely time. Like, all of us are connected through social media, but we don't have one-on-one conversations no more.
I know.
Don't hang out anymore, and it's just like, you know what, I'm going to see if I can bring that back.
Yeah.
Like, at least do my part, bring that back. Like, actually, let's have a long conversation. Let's talk to a stranger.
Sit down and talk about something. Yeah.
That's why I like going to the bar sometimes. I'll go to a bar by myself and have a drink and wait for someone to come by and get their story. Just
sure.
Like, I just want to tell me something. Tell me about yourself. I want to learn about you.
I used to do that as well at I don't know what part of Savannah you were in, but like downtown there's a bar that I really like to go to called Molly McPherson's.
Oh yeah,
Scottish bar.
I love that bar. That was actually a good bar.
I love that place. I would just go up there and sit down and, like, have a little pour or like some beer, and just wait until people come and sit at the bar, like you said, and just chat it out.
Yeah, that was actually one thing about Savannah. It has some really nice bars out there. And the great thing is that they're a walking distance within downtown.
They're all right there.
I lived in Midtown Savannah, which was 2 or 3 miles south of. Technically, downtown is uptown because it's the most northern part of Savannah, so
right.
it was uptown. So, but I lived 2 miles down from that, and the place I lived in was actually a pretty nice part of Savannah. I was within walking distance of Haberson Village.
Okay. Yeah.
So I would walk there on my days off or my nights off, and there was this restaurant I used to like going to called the 5 Spot. It's actually pretty good. Get my meatloaf out there, get a couple of drinks at the bar, talk to some people. Then we'll go walk across the street to another bar called Bar Food, and that was a good place to freaking meet people.
Yeah.
That's actually where I learned gay men thought I was attractive.
Score!
Like the guy walked up. This was the first time like a guy walked up to me and bought me a drink. I was like, man, now I know how a woman feels. This is amazing.
This is great.
That, like, I had to turn him down. I'm like, man,
sorry,
I'm straight. And I'm like, man, this is how a woman really does feel. But I did like, no, let's hang out. Let me buy you a drink in return. And it was like that was actually pretty cool. Like, hung out with all him and his gay friends. So like, yeah, what's going on, guys?
Yeah, it's sick.
And I'm like, I'm not gay, but you can't stick it on my butt. But it's
right. But I'll hang out with you.
Hang out with
sure.
you. Yeah, that was a fun night. I got too drunk and met these two women, and one of them had to drive me home in my car, which was nice. Like, we were just having too good of a time. But yeah,
Savannah, dude.
Savannah,
that's probably some of the most intoxicated times of my life in that town.
Especially St. Patrick's Day.
Oh my god. Reminiscing. That's where I met her, actually. One of her friends brought her up there.
For St. Patrick's Day?
No.
No, it was just random.
That was a couple months later, actually. The next month, yeah. So we met in February of 2006. And then she ended up coming back up that St. Patrick's Day.
And that's how it happened. Well, what was the story behind that?
There's there's this girl that I knew of, I don't think she'll ever listen to this, so I feel like I'm in the clear, but she was she was engaged to one of my classmates at the Citadel.
Yeah.
And was also friends with my girlfriend at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And she ended up moving down here, and then, whatever happened, like they broke off the engagement. She moved down here. I think she finished out college down here, got a job with her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were working at Al's Pizza right down the street. And I had been back for my first tour for maybe like, I think 3-4 months at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they was like, hey, why don't you come up here? We'll hang out this weekend or whatever. We got a few bars or whatever. And she was like, can I please bring my friend? She's never been to Savannah. And I was like, no, I don't, I mean, I feel, I don't know if I felt weird about like having another person, and I was like, finally, just bring her, do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And then we met, and I was like, this is it.
Holy crap.
This is it. So we maintained contact and say, hey, why don't you come up here for St. Patty's Day? It'll be awesome. And she brought some of her friends with her, and they were a train wreck. Yeah, I'm sure I was, but like I felt like I had it together. Like I know what I'm doing.
10 minutes later, right. Let's get drunk.
Yes, going by Wet Willie. They were like, "Let's go by Wet Willie's." I'm like, "No, let's not."
Oh my god, that place, man.
That place, dude. That place is serious.
Actually, one of my favorite restaurants out there was Churchill's. Churchill's Pub.
Yeah.
It's pretty good shit out there.
Yes.
Like my buddy got married there. They actually have
at Churchill's?
Yeah, there's they actually have a nice little reception hall on the top floor.
Okay.
It has a nice rooftop bar too.
Yeah, I've been all the way up to the roof.
Okay, at the rooftop bar, there's another room, and it might be locked, but it's actually a nice reception room. It's like, white. I'm not an architect, so I'm gonna butcher the description. I think it might be Victorian, how the hall set up, but it's a very pretty place to actually have a wedding at.
Nice.
It's big enough where, small enough where it's intimate, which is nice, but big enough where you can still have fun.
Right.
Like you can still dance,
have some folks, and yeah. That's sick, dude.
That was dude.
I love that town, man.
Yeah, Savannah's nice, but like, I don't know, I tell people not to live there.
Right.
It's just because, because my experience, I was a cop. Like, man, I never want to live here again.
I bet. I mean, I'm sure you've had different experiences out there.
How do I live here again? But like, also the taxes too. And then like how Georgia screws you over with taxes, and Savannah adds taxes to that. So, besides that, like, it's a cool place to visit. I mean, it's a very beautiful place. unique city. I don't think there's not a city like that.
Yeah.
Charleston comes close.
It's a little bit.
There's
more,
there's a difference.
Yeah.
Well, because Charleston's on the bay, and Savannah's just off the river.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very one of a kind city.
I love both Charleston and
Charleston
and
nice.
Savannah, but yeah, Savannah like a little special spot. You know,
It's like this is where I fell in love.
Right.
This is where I grew up.
Exactly.
All right.
Too many of those.
I used to love working St. Patrick's Day. It was just fun for me.
Man. Just all those. Right now I just got like a glimpse of like just a full on like line of porta potties. You know, like
People were using porta potties.
I know. I know.
I bet you those porta potties were empty.
Some people the girls were using them.
Really? Because I caught a couple of girls not use the porta potties.
Up against the wall.
Hold my camera. Hold my phone. Like, ma'am, stop it. Stop it.
Please. Don't do that here.
It's a fun party city.
Definitely.
I can see why a lot of people like to have their bachelor parties at their bachelorette parties.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it's all like pretty tight, you know, walking distance, like you said, to the bars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like and you can take it to go.
I completely forgot about that great option for people who don't know about Savannah's roadies. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. They have the open container law. As long as you're downtown and if it's in a plastic cup,
Right.
you could drink outside.
You just...
Why won't you do that anyway?
I know.
Like, or
at least or in our downtown little area, you know, they could do the same thing.
yeah, downtown or the beaches here in Jacksonville. I mean, I get it if you're in a place where there's a business district,
Right.
where there's more offices than restaurants or bars. Well, if you're in a place where there's heavy bars and restaurants, like, what? Screw it. Open container.
Absolutely. I mean, just walking into a bar and saying, "Can I have a Guinness to go?"
Yeah.
And then they pour you a Guinness in a plastic cup, and you pay for it and walk out of the door like immediately.
Yeah, you go sit outside, watch the stars.
Walk down to the river, you know, like walk to the next bar.
Walk to the next. Oh man.
Like,
Man, I
like
miss that.
if you park your car, and if you didn't want to be at that particular bar, but you still wanted a beverage on the way to the bar, you park the car, go into the first bar, order a beer to go, or a liquor drink to go, and walk out. And you're getting there while you're getting there, so to speak.
Gatorade. God, man.
You're already on your way to getting drunk by the time you're on the next bar.
There was a couple times where I went downtown and I drank too much. I just ran back home. This is back when I used to. This is when I used to run a lot. I don't do it so often because of my knees. But I was like, man, I'm too drunk. I can't drive my car. Ah, fuck it. I'll burn the calories.
Just drop it.
I'm close enough for running distance.
Right.
Where it takes me probably 15, 20 minutes if I run it. Like, all right, time to burn these calories. I'll take off my blazer. Like, all right, let's go.
Dang.
Oh man, I miss living in a town like that though, where it's small enough you could do that.
Right. Where are you now?
I'm here in Mandarin.
Okay.
And for people who don't know how Jacksonville set up, Mandarin's on the southern part of Jacksonville, so it's closer to St. Augustine than. Yeah, closer to St. Augustine. But but the thing about Mandarin is there's not a lot of places to go out there.
Yeah.
There's Cheers and Monkey's Uncle, and I'm like, man, do I really wanna? I'm like,
dude,
do I really wanna go in there?
The Munkle,
Uncle.
me and Karen and I have had some serious times at the Munkle, the one that used to be in Jack's Beach.
Well, I like Jack's Beach better.
Oh.
Jack's Beach's Monkey's Uncle is actually pretty good.
Well, this is the one that was in South.
Oh, the one over here.
in South Jack's Beach.
Yeah.
Like like a few minutes up the road here. Mm-hmm. Not where it is now. Where it is now, it used to be called the Land Shark.
Oh yeah, that's
and then
right.
that was something else before Land Shark, which I wasn't privy to.
Is Land Shark still around?
No.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Because
sad. We used to play there too.
Is the brewery still active or?
I don't know. That's a different thing.
Oh wait, I thought Land Shark was a beer.
Yeah,
I thought they were both a bar and a beer.
They might have one. They might have a Land Shark like brewery area somewhere like in town, but this was the Land Shark. Is it cafe? Can't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
We just called it the Land Shark.
I remember the Land Shark.
But yeah, dude, the Munkle. And I used to run back from there, or like try to skateboard back, which was, it's not, anybody that is listening that skateboards would know that beverage and skateboard do not.
Well, actually, I have a longboard in my car for skateboarding.
Right.
Now I have it in my trunk. I ride every once in a while, but I keep it back there just in case. Like, well, there's the Applebee's and there's a Hurricane's Wings.
Okay.
Close to where I'm at, and if I get too drunk there, I did this a couple of times. Like, fuck it, leave the car in the parking lot. I'll just skateboard back to the house.
I've woken up following mornings and been like, man. I got freckles missing off my arms, like skinning.
I got home
like a head injury. Like, man, what the... feels like more than just an overhang,
Oh god, man! This one time, I got picked up by the wrong chick. At Monkey's uncle. Like, it was a weird situation. My friend and his girlfriend at the time left me at the bar because they wanted to have some fun with each other.
Right.
So I was visiting from out of town because I was living in Savannah at the time. So he gave me $20. Like, here, get a cab, because he was my ride. So I met some woman, and we were flirting, and she walked away from me. I'm like, okay. And I was about to get a cab and go home, and she jumps in the cab with her friends. She's like, no, you coming with me to my house? I'm like, all right. So I get to her house, and it was crazy, and let's just say I walked out. It's like
in the middle of all of it.
It's like hopefully your kids aren't listening.
No.
Okay. No, she was being flaky, and I just said straight up, like, hey, I think if we're gonna have sex tonight. And she's like, you being so forward, like, listen, actually, because my friend was actually come pick me up.
The clock is on.
Like, literally, the clock was ticking because my friend's like, hey, where you at?
Right.
I'm coming to pick you up now. So I gave her that address. I had to go find her mail. I'm like, all right, this is the address. Pick me up.
That's a great idea.
I grabbed a letter, like, all right, here, pick me up. And I told her, like, all right, you got 30 seconds to decide if we're going to have sex or not, because you're confusing me. And it's like,
you're sending the mixed signals.
Well, like, there was a countdown. Like, okay, you got 45 seconds. Like, oh, why are you being so forward? And 30 seconds. I'm like, you got 30 seconds. Like, oh, come on, stay a while. Like, 15 seconds. Like, oh, we could talk. I'm like, all right, I'll see you later. Yeah. I walked away from that.
Like, walking.
But man, I need to do that more often. I'm single. I can still do it.
You can. The choice is yours.
The choice is yours. What's that? I know it. Let's go into the question part.
Okay, sure. Yes, I'm terribly nervous about this.
No, don't be. Give you guys the spiel. I asked these questions at the last half of the interview because, due to the people I have on the podcast, the different topics, the different opinions, especially in today's world where everyone is getting oversensitive and too judgmental, these questions are interpersonal questions, and they're supposed to show a different side of a person, like the more intimate side of a person. So decide that you were sold to your significant other, your best friend. The reason why I ask these questions is to show that no matter what you think of a person, you could always relate to them. There's always a level you could relate to them. You don't have to be so judgmental. So this is why I ask these questions. And also, you get a lot of cool stories out of it, too.
Definitely. Some of the ones I was reading.
Alright. The first one. The one that you're nervous about. Given the choice of anyone in the world from any time period, who would you want as a dinner guest and why?
This is one that I was looking at and I was thinking, man, I was definitely not going to be able to come up with something off the cuff. Because there's so many different people that I'd like to talk to. Honestly, I mean, this is going to sound so cheesy, and I'm going to come up with two if you don't mind.
There's no wrong answer.
My wife.
Really? That's the first time I heard that one.
Because, it's tough when you have little ones, I mean...
Oh, just like a nice dinner by yourselves?
Right. Because we basically... And it sounds... It sounds like I'm like real self-centered with my little hobbies, like my surfboard building or my band. But all that stuff goes on for the most part. Like I fit those things in like lunch break. I work like 3 miles up the road, by the way. So I'll come home at lunchtime. So lunch break, I'll work, or after they go to sleep, including her. We'll put the babies to bed. Get in, watch a little television set for a little bit. Decompress, and then she's like, "All right, well, I'm going to bed," and then I'll come out here and do some work. So like when everybody's asleep, that's when I start. And of course, you can't play rock and roll music in the daytime.
No, punk rock.
So basically, like all of our time, all of our home time is like
Kids.
Focused on them. And dinner time, it's all like making sure that they're fed, and we'll throw it in, as quickly as possible. So basically, just being able to sit down with her and like have a nice little conversation. We do every once in a while, but we don't like to enlist our family members or anything to watch the kids or like have babysitters or anything like that. So, when they offer, like when her mom or dad, they live right in Sawgrass, so it's nice. They're right there. They'll say, "Hey, let's watch the kids." One night you guys go out to eat. So that's a very nice thing. So one, I would say with Kara, that's my wife, and again, like so many. I guess thinking about it, there's a lot of different facets. I'd like to sit down with somebody like a gentleman called Mark Richards. He's a surfer and a shaper. He's in Australia. I think he's Australian. Actually, I don't know. But he developed a particular fin setup for surfboards, and just like basically pick his brain about that kind of stuff, and like just to get to know him as well. Like he's a world champion, past world champion of surfing, and I think possibly. Well, I'll cut it off there because I probably would like to meet with a couple band members and stuff like that, but just cheesy stuff.
Like, I want 2 separate dinners. One with just me and my wife.
Right.
One with all these people.
Right.
One
with
long
all
table.
One exactly. Table. What do you like to, just go. But basically, anything other than sitting down with her would be just picking their brain about what they know, I would like to download your brain into my brain so I could also know that.
It's like, yes, let's do the upload.
Right. Exactly.
Shit. Actually, a pretty good answer because I never heard of someone say their wife or their husband before. Well, it's a good reason too. All right. What would constitute a perfect day for you?
Well, I wouldn't have to go into work. I would say if it was the winds were offshore, the waves were chest to head high.
Ooh, that's nice.
The tide was just right. Go surfing for about 2.5 hours in the morning. Come back with enough time to get some time in for the babies. Maybe they would go off and hang out with their grandparents, and then the wife and I would hang out. Come back with the babies. I don't know, like just mixing it up between surfing and hanging out with the family for the most part. I mean, that's
a good life.
Yeah, that'd be the most ideal situation.
You come like, no, I did what I wanted today. I have fun.
Exactly.
Hang out with the kids.
Go surfing. Try to influence the youth.
I will corrupt the youth today.
Exactly. This is what we're going to listen to today. Like, put a Cramps record on, you know.
The kids growing up. Yeah.
All right, we're going to listen to Guttermouth now, you know.
No, Daddy, I want Agent Orange.
The girl, Stella is my girl's name. She actually likes that band. They're surfy style, so they're not like super aggressive. You know, you'd probably actually like them a lot.
I'm gonna write that down so that way I can remember it later.
Yes, Agent Orange Punk. Because I think there's probably a metal band out there that's got that name, but
Turf War.
I know.
War of the Bands. You stole my name. Alright. Do you have a secret hunch on the way you'll die? That one usually gets people. That question.
Like how I would go? How I'd want to go, or how I think it might go down?
How you think? Actually, just do both.
Well, how I think is probably going to be like some kind of... Yeah, probably some kind of heart-related stuff. Just family history, like super lame stuff, nothing fancy. And just the fact that I tend to try my best not to sleep.
You need that.
It's kind of necessary, right?
You really need that.
I'll go like weeks with like 3 hours of sleep every night, and then like the next week I'll try to get like 6 hours every night.
Is your body adapted to that? Do you feel like
here and there? I mean, I don't feel like I'm groggy or anything like that. I think I will probably in like the coming years. I mean, I'm not young, but I'm not old. I'm 35 in the moment. So I think, you know, eventually it's going to be like, dude, you got to slow down, you know? So I feel like that will probably play into something. I don't know, man. That's definitely a tough question. Like if you were to ask somebody, how would you want to go?
Actually, I had a sex therapist on the show. She had the best answer, like having sex. It's like she's like, no, that
would be the best way to go.
This is my profession, and this is the way I want to go.
Sure.
So like, that was the best answer.
Damn, why didn't my head go there? Normally my head goes there. Like, well, I'm trying to church it up for you, man.
Church it. No, you don't have to church it up on this show. You don't have to. You can just say whatever you want. All right. Ooh, a fly came in my mouth.
Uh-oh.
If you were arrested and your family and friends were not aware of what you were charged with, what would they assume you were arrested for?
Probably inciting a riot.
Yeah.
No, I mean that would be sick though.
Your band gets bigger and bigger. It's
Right.
Like, oh my god, we got a huge audience.
We're gonna break
Let's do this. Let's punk out.
Right. I think probably not something. They probably think that I did something stupid like driving. Like I don't want to say drinking and driving because I don't tend to do that, but probably like some kind of strange minor infraction. I think that I like to think that my family thinks that I'm a good boy. I think
until the punk rock comes out.
Right, exactly. I think until like I started getting into my elder years, like I was a good guy. You know, like that sounded terrible.
It's like
I was a good guy, now I'm a terrible person. No, I mean I think that much to my dismay, like as who I am now, like I look back on my days and I was not terribly rebellious. I had a good upbringing, so like, you know, I had no reason to be like, screw you. Or, you know, like, you guys are not, you know, like, you guys wouldn't let me have this pair of shoes, so I don't like you. You know, like, that'd be the extent of my...
That's it.
Yeah.
My parents were pretty decent.
You know, so like,
I can't complain.
They would think that it would probably be something entirely like menial, like why is he getting arrested for that? You know, like I don't know. I can't think of anything that like
something random,
or maybe skateboarding and like in trespassing, basically.
You get too drunk, you're skateboarding, you're doing naked, like, oh, fuck.
Drag it. That would be a terrible situation.
Oh,
could you imagine?
Ooh.
Road rash.
Ooh. Oh my god! Like, when I was, this happened to me twice with the same dog. I got bit in the testicle.
Oh my god! Don't say that. And the same one?
Same dog, 2 separate times. And freaked me out. Like
yeah.
The blood, because I saw blood, like, oh my god, there's blood. Like it wasn't a puncture or anything, it's just her teeth grazed, or like, I was able to go through the shorts and pants.
Right.
And just grazed it. I'm like, I'm like, oh my god, if she went more up, that would have been bad.
Right.
And she actually extended her mouth the whole way. Oh, man. God. Oh, my God. Let's change the subject. Alright, let's do the fun one. If you wake up tomorrow and gain any power or ability, what would it be and why?
Is there a multiple choice on this one?
There's no wrong answer. It's like, this is all about what you want.
Let me see
how I answer it.
I guess, damn. I think a sick ability to have would be like to be able to bend over to pick up a penny, and then that penny turns into a $100 bill.
That'd be great. Oh my god, that would be awesome.
And I would just, you know, like I'd find all my pennies and just scatter them on the ground. Like,
I need more pennies, quick.
Who's got pennies?
You don't tell anyone else. Like, yeah, I have a collection.
I just go around to all my neighbors. I don't know. Probably the ability to fly would be sick, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess just to be able to go where you want when you want, you know. Like it's like having a helicopter in the backyard.
Yeah, screw it. And then you could just don't worry about traffic. And
right.
Get there faster.
Or teleportation or something, you know. Like, I want to be in Bali or something, you know. Like,
or you think about the wrong place.
Or like being able to touch people and like take them with me.
Yeah. Hi kids, grab your luggage.
Right, everybody grab a hold of me. We're gonna go somewhere.
We're gonna go somewhere. Well, a little vacation. All right. What, if anything, is too serious to be joked about?
I don't know that I've come across too many things. I don't think anything really, because I feel like if you're not able to have fun with things, you're living a kind of not awesome life, you know. I think it would suck to be so uptight about any particular subject.
Yeah, it's closed-mindedness. That's what it is.
That's a good point.
Like you know how you gonna learn and gain a new perspective if you're
right. And comedy, I feel like will bring that kind of stuff out. You know, like a comedian's getting shut down for talking their trash or whatever, you know. And I mean,
well, it's not only comedians too. It's just
but nobody
people say things out of context or is taken out of context, and like, do you really want to have a guy lose his job because he made a bad Twitter joke? Like, there's a thing if he's being consistent about it. Like he keeps doing it, but he said one bad joke and
it fell on the wrong ears or somebody, you know. I don't know. I mean, I just feel like, you know, some people get super uptight about such specific stuff, you know? And I feel like laughing and being able to joke about things is a way to even if you are uptight about a certain subject or whatever, you know, I feel like being able to laugh about it is a way to release the stress involved with that. Or, you know, like,
I mean, laughing at a subject is kind of like a sign of acceptance. You just accept it as what it is.
And it's not like you're necessarily condemning or like to go the opposite way. It's not like by laughing at like something like that, it's not like you're condoning the activity.
Yeah. Well, I think a good example of that, I'm pretty sure you did in the military, I did in law enforcement, is the gallows humor. Like the dark humor.
Yeah.
That you make some dark jokes.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, I read a good book about that. It's called On Killing. I forgot the author's name. It's a great book. But he talks about like psychology behind killing and for the military and law enforcement and what happens when you kill someone. But he was talking about how people adapt to war zones or hostile situations, and especially living there. And so one of the signs of your bot or your mind protecting itself from going crazy is the gallows humor,
right?
The dark humor.
Sure,
like
being able to laugh it off.
Yeah, you have to laugh it off, and so that's actually a safety
mechanism.
Yeah, safety mechanism put in place.
That makes perfect sense.
Like, yeah, because you see some dark shit. It's like you need to make a joke about it at some point.
Yeah, so definitely.
So you don't go crazy,
right?
Yeah, but I don't know. I think what you said earlier about being too sensitive, people. I think it's a phase. I think it's going to pass.
Yeah, I hope so. I think it's good to be aware of, you know, like the different things, like the different, for example, like the transgender and like the LGBTQ. I don't know what else goes on the end of that. But I think there's more stuff that people are adding, and I mean, I think it's good to be aware of that kind of stuff, and you know, like obviously we're in a different age and like the 1950s, and like you can't just stay cooped up in a closet, you know, like or in the basement or in the attic, you know. So I think it's good to be aware of that kind of stuff, and I think that people definitely take things too far.
Mm-hmm.
but to be able to lightly joke about things and like to joke about it, not to attack, you know, because I feel like there's a difference, because some people might think that they're joking and then they're like really being harmful, but then like I don't know.
Some people are just being vindictive. It's like, it's not funny.
They're being mean.
Yeah.
Like, and there's a difference between joking about something and being mean about something. So, like, you know, I think humor, like you said, is a good way to you know,
Yeah, because it's so...
to get past that.
Yeah, it's like...
Or learn about it even, you know? Like...
Well, that's one thing... I read something interesting about comedians. Basically, somebody said... I forgot where I heard this from. I think Robin Williams might have said it. Like, the comedian... Well, the comedians right now, I think it's a recent art form in the history of man. I think it's recent that we actually have people just devoted to making people laugh. Like, instead of the court jester, you have real smarter people.
Right.
But he said the comedian is basically the modern day philosopher. Because you have to be very intelligent and actually make people laugh. Like,
right.
That's a different type of intelligence, and you have to be highly intelligent to do it.
To keep it going, like, especially what they're doing, man. And also in this messed up world we're living in the moment.
It's crazy.
You know, like, tiptoeing and, you know.
Yeah, it's like you
say the wrong thing and, like, you're gone. You know, like that's what we're dealing with at the moment. You know, like you said, one Twitter post away from not being a CEO of a company anymore, you know, or not having any more friends, or now you're receiving death threats because you said something stupid, or, you know, like didn't think something all the way through.
I don't know.
Which is sad. That's sad.
Well, one thing I feel guilty about, because I have to use a pseudonym for the show because of work purposes. Actually, I had a conversation with one of the episodes I did earlier last month was with a former Ku Klux Klan member. So I got a story we were talking about, because the thing with him, he said, like, when he was doing the rallies and stuff, he never used a fake name. He always used his real name. And I told him, like, I felt kind of guilty now because I've been thinking about it for months, because I speak honestly, and I have articles on the site that's politically incorrect, but it's honest and it's well thought out. But it's not. I'm not going to play political correctness.
Sure.
But it's kind of like I still have to use a pseudonym, because until I make this successful, like, I gotta still keep the business or employment.
Yeah, of course, you want to protect your.
But, like, I just hate using a pseudonym. Like, I don't like lying. And, well, the thing is about my pseudonym is, like, it's a mixture. It's not really I took my middle name, made my first name, and made my first name my last name.
Okay.
So instead of Frank Andrew Ortega, it's just Andrew Franks. I put an S behind the Frank, so that's a pseudonym. But I don't know, man. I wish it didn't have to be like that. I wish you could just say what you want and people just accept it.
I mean, there's authors that write regular type books that use pseudonyms. You know, like, you know, there's a reason for it.
Yeah,
it's not like you're.
I don't know. I feel like it's a
lying.
weird. Yeah, it's like, nah. I'm like one of these guys. Like, nope. I said it. I'm standing by it.
But I'm sure, like, I can see where you're coming from for sure.
It's like I still have to be mindful about work at the moment, and it's like, this is what I love. This is what I love to do. This is awesome. I want to do this for the rest of my life.
Right.
And not work for you. Not work for you.
I can definitely grasp that.
All right. Oh, this is a sweet one. If you're going to wake up tomorrow with no memories except for one, which one would you keep?
Jesus. That's not the memory. This is a difficult question. I guess. Also, that's. No. I think the birth of my second child.
Why not the first one?
Because I was like, man, this is gonna be tough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, how am I gonna work this out? Not the first one, because the first one was there when the second one came.
Oh, okay.
And
So like
Kara was also there when the second one came, obviously. So, like, it's all...
everyone's together.
Yeah. And my family came, and her family was already here, so, like, everybody's basically there. So just all that family, It's a good time, They're born on the same day. They have the same birthday. Yeah.
That's a freaking
4 years apart. They are
hey,
4 years
cool,
apart.
You don't have to worry. You have to worry about forgetting it.
Right. What's his birthday? What's her birthday? It's the same day. So if I mess that up, then it's pretty.
It's the same. Go to the same party.
Right. Which like, I'm sure that's gonna be a point of contention here in a couple years when she starts getting older and like, I want to do my own thing,
Guess
Which
what?
I get that.
Well, tough
This is my
cookie.
birthday.
Tough cookie.
Well, it's also his birthday. So
Guess what?
so, but yeah, so just because everybody would be there.
Man. Looking forward to having kids, but not for a while. Let me hold off for a little bit more,
Definitely.
a little bit longer. What's the most terrifying moment in your life?
I don't think I have anything that sticks out in particular. I mean, I've been in a couple of hairy situations. I don't know that I was terrified, but, and I'm not some kind of badass or anything like that, where I'm not scared of anything, I just can't think of one particular situation where I was, like, deathly afraid. There was one situation that I'm thinking about right now, which is it takes me back to, I think it was 2005, and we were on a convoy on our way up to Karbala. I think it was Karbala. Karbala. And so there was a I can't remember if it was Sunni, Shia. There was a Shia holiday where they would walk from Najaf to Karbala and back. And it was some kind of pilgrimage, I believe, if I can remember correctly, like Muhammad or like somebody walked with his people or something like that to the holy city, and then, they went back. And then, so this is the first time that these people were allowed to do this. Once we got Saddam, like, basically out of the picture, this is the first time they were going to be able to do this without basically being shot at. And it's kind of strange because looking back, we weren't in any real danger that I can remember. But so if you can picture a road somewhat like 95, where you start getting down towards like Daytona, where it's like 3 lanes, and the median. Excuse me. They had, so in this situation, it was like oriented differently. It'd be like east west, but this was, so it'd be like I-10. They had the westbound lane. I guess we being the United States, communicated to them, all the folks, that they were to stay on the westbound lane.
Yeah.
They're walking, you know. At this point, they're walking back. And there was a few cars that would like drive by every once in a while. We're cruising on the eastbound lane on our way, on our mission. And there's 20 trucks on the convoy. Up front, we had water, basically 20-foot containers, you know, sea containers of water, like just pallets of like heavy water, and and then so like there were three water trucks, and then the rest were, I think there were 15 fuel trucks, and then we had 4 what we called gun trucks, basically just a Humvee with a 50 cal or a machine gun on top, and we were going east. Shit ton of people walking on the westbound lane. Like, it was dark like this, so you couldn't really see much, and except for, you know, what was in front of us, but like you could kind of see like off, you know, where the light from our vehicle would kind of shine off. I mean, it was like a sea of people. the way my mind remembers it. So we're just driving, sea of people on that side. There's no like animosity, you know, they just see us going. And then I remember getting a call on the radio, like the guy in the first truck, which was a gun truck, freaking out. Like, he was like, VBIED, VBIED, you know, like says it like 5 times. And that means vehicle borne IED.
What's that mean?
So it's basically like a suicide bomb.
Okay.
A suicide, like a guy with basically a bomb in his vehicle. And the guy thought it was an attack on our convoy. So the first truck was a Humvee. The second truck was what's called a PLS. And it's basically like a monster truck. So the front of it looks like you got a wheel that's about chest high.
Yeah.
Right here. And then the front of it it goes up at an angle.
Those are the ones that are meant for like taking IEDs, right?
Well, I mean, they can, but that's not what it's meant for. It's just
not meant for. I mean, like they could.
I think it's meant to like just be able to go. It's basically a huge off-roading vehicle.
Oh, okay.
And these people. So we later found out that these people were Syrian, and that they had come into town to do the walk, or to, I don't know, I guess one of them was sick or something like that, and he wanted to go. So the guy like came in, picked up his family member, took him to Karbala, and then they were on their way back. But they wanted to go the fastest route, which was the route that was what we were supposed to be on. You know, like there was nobody on our side of the road. And that's the way it was supposed to be, because that's where we were supposed to be driving. And so the first truck is out in front of the convoy, making sure that there's nothing, you know, if he sees something, he can stop the convoy before everybody gets up to it.
Yeah.
And so he sees the car coming at him. I don't know if he even took shots at him, but like they pushed him off the road. And then I guess the driver of that vehicle was like, what's going on, you know? Like, so he swerves off in the median and then comes back on to the road. So that's where he was like, that's where our gun truck guy was like, we got an IED here, you know, that's what's happening, you know, like it was kind of like the textbook, you're getting attacked with a suicide car bomb. And so that the driver of that truck, I mean, did exactly what he should have done and just did not even move the steering wheel. Monster truck, that car.
Screw
I mean, just I'm talking. So he had the truck itself is heavy as hell.
Yeah.
He's hauling like two 20-foot containers of water. One on his truck, and then one on a trailer. His truck has 10 wheels on it. The trailer has 6. So on one side of the vehicle, it's 5 on the truck, and then it's 3 on the trailer.
Okay.
So that car had 8 wheels go over it. I mean, I'm talking about like that thing was like basically half of it was like a beer can. And so we ended up having to stop because one of the tires popped. From running over it.
Yeah.
So we're stopped changing the tire, and of course, like, people start getting out of their trucks, because we're supposed to take up like a defensive position. And I'm walking, because I'm leading the convoy. I'm walking back between my truck and like, get back in your vehicles. Like, you're in an armored vehicle. You're going to be safer in there than you are on the ground. We've got the gun trucks moving around, making sure everything's okay. And I just remember looking over across the road, and people, like, I feel like there's like 10,000 eyeballs just looking at me, and I'm like, fuck. Like, all is going to happen right now, because, like, we're still, at the time, we're still, like, under the impression that there could have been a bomb in that vehicle. I mean, the driver of the vehicle, he's with the 40 virgins or whatever their religion believes, I mean, that guy got fucking smushed, dude. Like, gone. And then the other 2 passengers that were in the vehicle, like, I think a 9-year-old, he had like a broken arm and a broken nose, and then the guy in the back, like, broke his collarbone or something, from the impact. Which, I mean, I remember looking at that vehicle and being like, dude, there's no way anybody survived that. And I remember when the ambulance had come up, because there's a hospital that we would pass, we would see it during the daytime. I remember that they just, like, basically threw this guy's remains, like, just carelessly threw it in the back of the ambulance, and they kindly walked the other folks in. But so they ended up taking off. I remember them coming up through the sea of people. You could see it, like, he's honking his horn, like, the people are, like, divided, like, he's, like, driving through the sea of people. Because he knew better than to come up on us. Because we're already on alert. We're going to basically mow down anything that's, like, moves. So I just remember looking across there and being like, dude, this is hairy. And so, like, I didn't have good radio contact with the outside world. Like, I could talk to the people in my convoy. We had, like, a little computer in our vehicle. I think it's kind of like what you would have as a cop.
The tough books?
It's something like that. Yeah. It was called MTS, Movement Tracking System. Okay. But we could basically IM instant message back to the base. And they're like, you need to stay there. And I'm like, fuck you. I'm not staying. Like, the people that are telling me this had never been out on the road. And I'm like, no. Do you know what's out here? As soon as this tire gets fixed, we're fucking straight off right on the rest of our mission. I'm not standing around here while these people are looking, I mean, there's been other situations, but, like, that's probably one of the hairier predicaments I'd been in, just being terribly nervous that, like, somebody's just gonna pull, like, shit is just gonna go down, like, and, like, our whole convoy gets decimated or whatever. But I mean, all those people were there peacefully. They're just like, I just want to walk back home.
Yeah, but
and they're looking at us like, are they going to shoot us? And like, like.
Oh, that's a lot.
So I'm sure they were just as scared as we were.
Well, it's just probably 99% of them are probably like same thing. Like, man, we just want to go home.
Exactly.
But there's always that chance that probably 4 or 5 of them's like, oh, here's our opportunity.
Exactly, because they would get paid.
Yeah,
they'd get paid, for doing stuff, which I get. I mean, Jesus, there's nothing going on out there in that country. There wasn't at the time. It was sad though. I'll let you get back into it.
No, what was sad?
It was sad because like working on the base, there were like guys that were peddling, like their little they get permits to come on the base and sell like little paintings or like
and stuff.
Yeah, like trinket type stuff, and you'd meet these guys and like master's degrees and like from.
No shit.
Yeah, like they're just. So we're, they, and a lot of them knew English really, really well. And, could communicate with them, and like, eventually after talking to them multiple times, like, hey, what do you think about us being here? And they're just like, it's a double-edged sword, basically, we want you gone. We wanted to run our country, but we need you right now,
Man.
I don't know.
One thing, like, I always hate when I see, I don't see it often anymore, or hear it often anymore, because the war, which people still forget, like, hey, it's still going on.
I know, it's a never-ending story.
Yeah, and they talk down about the people over there, the Afghanis, Iraqis, I'm always left with the thought, like, okay, there's some of them, there's a population of them that is terrorists, a small population, but I'm always left with the thought, like, if a foreign military came into our country, won't we be doing the same thing?
Could you imagine then? That would be...
Well, we would be doing... I think we would be doing the same thing.
Absolutely.
Except for we have more resources.
Exactly.
Especially in the South, like, it's probably going to be more guns.
Right.
More guns than the North. Like, unless you go to Chicago, they're like, oh, okay. You can go get the gangs up to Chicago, like, oh, we're not going...
This is a bad idea.
The foreign military, we'll leave Chicago alone. We're not going out to do that hood.
Seriously, I mean, I understand.
It's a weird,
but also, I mean, it's kind of like that type of thing where it's like an open target. I mean, they're not necessarily the ones that are the culprits, like...
How so?
It just... I feel like most of the guys that we were detaining, and this is just my little small piece of it, and, not being infantry or like armor, tanks is what that is, or guys that were out there on the ground, like we would search guys and make sure that they were good enough to do the fuel stuff that we were end up doing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them were Syrian or Jordanian or Iranian or Saudi, so most of the Iraqi people were just like, I mean, I feel like a lot of the bad stuff wasn't necessarily Iraqi folks.
Yeah, that's yeah, I remember reading that in the news and a couple of documentaries, like lot Al-Qaeda, ISIS. This is a jihad, so same thing like any culture. I look at it as a culture thing. Like, if you have a culture that, for men, like, okay, this is a rite of passage. You're gonna have people from across the world from the same religion. Like, okay, let's do it. Let's go. Let's go kill some people.
Down.
Let's go
the infidels.
Let's go kill the infidels.
Right.
It's I don't know. I just find it interesting because war's obviously war's a fucking terrible thing.
Yeah,
but also too, it's like it's that old saying, like one man's terrorist is another man's patriot or hero.
It makes perfect sense, dude. I mean, it's the because if you flip the script, like you said, if somebody's invading our country, like if you look at it from their perspective, who is the terrorist? And I'm not trying to get like on an anti-USA rant or anything like that, but it's going to sound like that. I mean, we're going over there. We are going over there. And we're killing people.
We are the aliens, the foreign occupying force.
Exactly. So I mean, it's just, which way your perspective, whichever way you look at it, like.
And the thing is, like, there's also in that situation, there's no gray area. There's situations there are, there are gray areas in war, or just like anything. Like you might be in a situation where you have to make a tough decision. You don't have all the facts. The cloud of war, the fog of war.
Yeah.
And you gotta make the best decisions you can. And that's
at the time.
And that's the gray area comes in. But for the politicians and the military leaders who decide to start a war, like there is right and wrong in it, and it's on your shoulders. Like that's your burden.
Ideally,
yeah, that's supposed to be your burden.
I think that's the sad thing that goes down is I feel like, and this is another thing that like spurred like the music aspect, because there's a lot of politically charged songs that I've written.
Yeah,
but a lot of it is because like the impetus essentially for a lot of the war type stuff is money. To me, I mean, I know that I don't have the full scope, but what I can see, it's like,
well, President
Bush.
Please tell me I'm getting this right. Eisenhower.
Okay, yeah.
He warned about that. The general, one of the most badass generals in U.S. history, became the president, and he warned America about the military-industrial complex. So you got the man who's intimate with he is the military, saying like, this is going to be the downfall, and I think even President Carter warned about it too. And I think even Kennedy might have said something about it too.
I mean, it has become what it is, or it is what it has become. I don't know, man. It's tough to say because, like, you see a lot of people, or you actually probably don't see it. You have to do the research to find who is benefiting.
I don't think it's not that hard to find.
So it's
it's disgusting because
super disgusting.
Because the one who ends up paying for it is obviously the members of the military, then also the people. That's the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones. Then from that you get the families. Then it's a bad chain of events, because then you got the family and the military. When they come back, that deal with PTSD or some type of severe injury.
Big time, dude.
Then if you want to think about it, then there might be some animosity against the government. It's like, wow, I got really fucked over.
Right.
Then you go look at the other side of it. You go to the enemy. And same thing. the guy comes back, he might be alive. It's like, man, I was in this camp, I was this prisoner of war for a while, I was tortured.
And he's messed up in the head.
He's messed
She's
up,
messed up.
or even if he wasn't captured, like he was able to get away and got a bad injury, PTSD, then their animosity for the other countries, like, no, we're going to get revenge.
Right.
And we don't have to have a military anymore to do it. We could have guerrilla tactics.
Exactly. Scary, man.
It's
I'd always I don't know. I guess my paranoia to an extent had like, why wouldn't that happen here? Like, why wouldn't they?
What do you mean?
Like, just plant. So one of the times that sticks out, like right now that I'm thinking of in particular, is we were going, and this is totally stupid on my part, because like I had a multi-stop mission where like we were going to multiple bases,
Mm-hmm.
and I like looking back now, I can see it, of course, hindsight. One of the bridges, one of like the overpasses we were going across, had an IED on it. Exploded,
Mm-hmm.
right in between two trucks, like almost perfect. So like the next truck only had like rocks kick up, like it was working in my favor on and all of our favor. I mean, I say mine because like I was responsible for the convoy, being the leader of it, or convoy commander is what they call them. But seeing like I can now see the vehicles going down, like basically going down an exit,
Mm-hmm.
and then coming back up on the other side, like exiting off the highway, going across the road, coming back onto the highway on the other side of the overpass. Like I can replay that in my head, but what I'm getting at is like why isn't that happening, or why at the time? So this has been like 05, 06, 07, like why wasn't that happening here? It seems, I mean, with the availability to procure those items.
Well, one thing. Well,
It would
it's
be
not
easy.
It's not that hard to do. Like, well, I'm not supporting it or anything.
No,
Like,
absolutely not.
I mean, like, like,
just being scared of it almost.
well, look what happened with the Boston Marathon. Like,
True.
that happened, and the stuff that they got stuff you could buy at Home Depot.
Exactly.
You could buy at Home Depot or Walmart, same materials, make a bomb. When I worked for Disney, because when you said like why it has not happened here, when I worked for Disney, and I tried to get a active shooter plan implemented for the cruise lines, because I worked for a cruise line, and they didn't want to do it, and it's just they had their head in the clouds, and I forgot the name of the fallacy, but I think they have the illusion that I think the delusional thinking like nothing's going to happen to them, and just because nothing has happened to you yet doesn't mean it isn't going to happen.
Won't happen, right?
You probably had a couple close calls, but you guys got lucky.
Yeah,
very lucky.
big time.
And I think but also I started thinking about it. I think there's a illusion too from the outsider's perspective, because they would think that Disney will have better security protocols, have something in place, and unfortunately it wasn't. Like, so compare that to what you said. I think a lot of times it's the illusion of the FBI or the security or
Like,
CIA
I'm gonna
watching
be safe.
you.
I'm in the United States.
Yeah,
Like
no, I can be safe, but also if you're looking from a wannabe terrorist or something like that, or wannabe active shooter, maybe a lot of times they say no because they think they're going to get caught. Like if you buy this.
Yeah.
You buy this from Home Depot, then you go to Walmart and buy this material. It's going to come up to a system. So there might be the illusion of being caught. Might be, and
that makes sense.
And that might be maybe the reason why it's not as. There hasn't been many terrorist attacks. Yeah, there's been terrorist attacks, and most of them have been domestic from our own citizens.
Right.
I don't know. It's just
And again, I think that spurred from just like my initial. And I don't think I've got any sort of PTSD, but just like seeing a bag of trash and be like, oh shit. Okay. But just having that small little bit of paranoia, like just driving like, I mean, it could happen here. Like, I'm stoked that it hasn't or that it's not happening here, But, I mean, that would be hysterical.
I think...
Well, hysteria? Hysteria?
I know what you're trying to say.
Mass hysteria?
Yeah, mass hysteria.
Is that also hysterical? That's not the same.
I think it's two different.
That's... Yeah.
No, it's like we... Sometimes I forget like how lucky we are. Because I told you for the episode. Nah, unfortunately, I got laid off last month, and it's been hard looking for work. And then I saw this thing on Instagram, and it actually put things in perspective. And every once in a while, those little memes work. And so, like, listen, if you live in the United States, you have a car, you have a roof over your head, and you have something to eat, you're doing better than 90% of the world. Like, it's like that's. And you really, I had to really think about like, yeah, that's
raw,
true,
dude.
It's like that is true. Like, I have a car, I have something coming in at the moment, and I'm still doing something I love at the, even though it's a bad situation, I'm still doing something I love. It's like there's people even here in the country is like doing pretty bad. They have nothing. They're about to be kicked out of their house, or. Sometimes you forget like how good you have it. Sometimes,
right? Yeah, I think that's heavy.
Yeah,
And then I think it's good to like sometimes stumble on that.
Yeah, once in a while, it's like, oh, that's actually,
oh shit, dude, you're right, man.
You're right. That's actually a pretty deep one. That's actually put things in perspective. All right, we're gonna go back to the questions. We went down. That was a good rabbit hole we went down. That was a pretty good hole. All right. What are your deepest held beliefs?
Just in general.
Yeah.
Well, I believe that love is possible. I don't know, man. I like to think that I like to think that people in general are good. That sounded super cheesy. Now I'm playing it back in my head.
Oh, this freaking pen! My pen is falling apart.
Oh man. The pen is mightier.
All right.
I don't know. That's a belief. I don't know. I'm not terribly good at that kind of. I believe in magic.
Magic. I believe in magic. All right.
And a young girl's heart. The music can free her whenever it starts. Yeah, I don't know.
I believe the whole. I think most people are good. When I told someone about criminals, so I'm like, a good portion of people commit crimes and are in jail. did it because not because they're evil. I think they were in a bad situation or they were raised wrong. I don't think they're not evil people, but obviously there is a portion of that community or that population of criminals that are evil. They're like, yeah, they did it with the intent to kill and hurt and harm. But I think most other criminals
just in a bad situation.
They made the wrong choice, and they deserve a second chance. I really do believe that everyone deserves a second chance to actually. This is America. That's what it's supposed to be about. Like, this is why people came over here.
Right.
Like, this is a second chance to start over and make something new for yourself. And I feel the same way. Well, I think most people are good. I think most criminals are good, except for I draw the line with, murderers, rapists.
Right.
And that, like, okay, no.
You could have done something different.
Like, you purposely did a really evil thing. That's, no, you should rot.
Right.
You should rot for that.
But like you were saying just now, I think a lot of people that get convicted of certain crimes, I mean, they're just like got caught. I think there's a lot of people that probably would be doing some time, probably myself included.
Yeah. Well, me after start being a cop, I'm like, I'm going to have some more fun.
But like just got caught doing something stupid, and they know it. They just can't do anything about it now,
Yeah.
But like you said, murderers and rapists.
Well,
especially rapists, man. Like you.
Well, what I remember a couple of years ago, they were protesting this guy on death row that he was supposed to be killed, and these people didn't want him to get killed, so it was inhumane. Then I listened to what he was charged with. He kidnapped a woman. I think he had her for maybe a couple hours, a couple days, and he raped her. Then he slowly killed her. I'm like, he's getting the easy way out. Like, you gotta look at the victim. Like, imagine the terror she had.
Yeah,
the terror. Like, and also I think the worst part of that terror is that terror is mixed with hope. Like, oh man, I might be able to get out of the situation. Then slowly that hope dies.
And just gone. And it's like, God damn, dude, that would be terrible.
And that's why sometimes I hear the whole death row stuff. I'm like, yeah, I get it. There's people on death row that the system made a bad mistake. They probably are. Some of them probably aren't innocent and they were set up or just bad police work. And that's why I get like the whole maybe that's why you wait 10 or 15 years and do the appeal process.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some people it's like, nah, you did something that was freaking horrible.
Yeah.
Like, you should have no rights whatsoever.
We're going to take that away from you.
We're gonna
or, like, people that, the death... I get the death row thing, like, where they should... Well... Is that really a punishment for their crime? I think it's more of like an alleviation on our behalf, is like to get rid of them so we don't have to pay for their existence.
Well,
but are they really being? Or is that person being punished by dying?
I don't know, man. That's just
Do you know what I mean?
I get what you're saying. Like, I don't think it's
almost
still
like more of a punishment for them to stay alive and like have to think about what they've done. But
well, I haven't watched Walking Dead in a while, and I watched the last episode with Rick leaving. And do you watch Walking Dead? Or?
No, I don't.
All right. Well, like, you know about the bad guy named Negan, or
no?
Okay, there's a bad guy. There was a guy on there that was a leader of another group, and he was this dictator. He was vicious. He was sociopath. He killed people with a baseball bat. So
with that little
the barbed wire.
Okay, I've seen pictures of that film.
So this is actually a pretty good episode because they showed him this. I think the episode takes place a couple years later. They caught him, and the main character Rick, instead of killing him, he said like we need to be a new society. We need just we're going to lock him away. And one of the people of the group, her husband was viciously killed by him right in front of her, and she wants to kill him. So this episode shows him like he's going to the prison and she's bringing a gun, and it's like, I'm going to kill him. He doesn't deserve to live. So she gets into the cell and they're talking, and she's like, get on your knees, and the guy's egging her on. It's like, yeah, I remember I killed your husband, and he's egging her on, and then he said something that was off to her. It's like, and she's like, say that again, and he's begging for her to kill him, and she opens the gate, and actually this is a big guy. He grabs him and throws him against the wall easily, and he's crying. It's like, I can't live like this anymore. You need to kill me. You need to kill me. And like, I try to kill myself. I just can't do it. I don't have the courage to do it. And she's looking at him like, man, this is worse than death.
Seriously.
And she grabbed her, put her back in the cage, and locked it. Like, this is worse than death.
I think for people that have a conscience. Yeah,
conscience.
I think it's got to be worse for them to just stay alive, you know?
Especially, you're in a room, you can't go anywhere, you can't talk to people, your freedom's restricted. Like, the mind plays
go crazy, man. I couldn't imagine.
We're social creatures, and we need our freedom. And you take that away, then it's worse than death. A lot of times it could be worse than death.
I think so.
It's like death is at that point easy way out.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Another tirade or
no? We're gonna do two more questions, and we'll be over.
Okay.
Trying to think of the last one good one. We'll do something a little light. What's something that you're proud of, but never had an excuse to talk about it?
Never had an excuse like a...
Yeah, you never had like a reason to brag about it, or it never came up in a conversation, but it's something like you're really proud about. It's like if someone were to mention like, oh my god, yes, I'm going to get to say it.
Right. Like, you don't want to bring it up because like you will... There's been several, like, I don't know, man. There's been a bunch of that kind of stuff, because I'll get like like happy about stupid stuff, like doing a real big turn or something, like on the surfboard, and like you don't want to rub it in like, hey man, did you see that or whatever, you know.
Look what
But I would talk about it if somebody was like, hey man, that was a serious turn, or you know, like, or I saw you get barreled or whatever, you know, like. So probably something like that, or like nailing like a little certain songs. I move my fingers around like to play, you know. I guess it's called doing a run or whatever. Mm-hmm. You know, like walking it down or whatever.
Okay.
You know, like a ding 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 ding. But like nailing that, you know, like, you know.
I got it.
Almost kind of like looking around. Did anybody see that? And then thinking like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be doing that. You know. Stuff like that. I mean, nothing, because like if I successfully like pull something off with one of the kids or something, she and I will talk about it, you know, like no holding back, like, yes, I did this today, you know. So I think it's more something that I do kind of that's supposed to be behind the scenes, you know, like, or doing a particular, like making one of those swirls come out and it looks like something cool, like a wave or something. I don't know. You'll see what I mean here in a little bit when I show you. But.
And you guys remember, check out the show's Instagram page at A Taboo Life, and you can check out the pictures. A Taboo Life.
A Taboo Life. I need to be doing it. Sorry.
All right. Last question is the last, and this is a question I ask everyone. It's a deep question, and it's a 2-part question. Yeah. What is the worst thing you've ever done, and what's the best thing you've ever done in life?
Same answer? No, I'm just teasing.
Actually, I think there was one person who did have the same answer.
Yeah.
And he gave oh my god, I need to remember this. He actually gave a good reason why it was the same answer.
Sure. I mean, I could jokingly pull one out, but I think worst thing. Damn. There's been a lot of stupid stuff that I've done, but then I learned from it, so I don't do it anymore. And now I can't, it's tough for me to pull this kind of stuff out of my head. Because a lot of times, if you, and I would never think about this until I read the Void article.
Yeah.
The compartmentalizing.
Oh.
If you, I mean, I've read it 3 times.
Yeah.
Cheesy. Oh my god, I can't believe it. Somebody wrote about me. A lot of times in my weird mind, if I do something, it just goes into a box, and I just forget about it. And I'll clam up. I'll use this as an example, and I'm gonna answer the question here in a second. But I was sitting down with my boss's boss at my normal job, and she's like, "So what do you do?" It's kind of like meeting with the Bobs in Office Space.
The Bobs.
What would you say you do? Well,
the job you gave me.
I walk the reports from.
I walk the report. The report.
So I'm sitting there thinking she knows what I do, but I think she was looking for something that would set me apart or whatever. I mean, not that we're trying to excel more than each other in our little office, but I'm well, I just do this, and that's pretty much it. And then my boss is sitting there, and he's like, "No, you also do," and names off 3 more things. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I forgot that I have a tough time pulling things out to present so basically what I'm trying to get at is when I do something terrible, I tend to file that away and just don't even I try not to think about it. So
lucky.
The worst thing, and I'm sure as soon as you get in the car and leave, I'm like, well,
so I think it's a healthy way to be like that, though.
I don't know, man.
Well, it's as long as you
she and I get in some serious debates because debates, arguments, because I'll do what the article says. I just compartmentalize, and I forget about things until stuff gets heated, and I'll bring up something from 5 months ago that I'd forgotten about.
Oh.
Oh,
okay.
And I'm like, well, this happened, and she's like, yeah, well, when did that happen? I'm like, I don't remember. And she's like, why do you always bring up old stuff?
I think it's
I'm not good at arguing. I suck at this.
I don't it's the stereotypical woman that did that. To bring up random shit what the fuck?
But
where'd that come from?
It's me that does that. So I don't know. The worst thing. I don't know, man. I can say the best thing. The best thing I did was probably marry that woman in there. And the reason being is because, like, she gives me all kinds of freedom. Like, it seems so silly to think that you're not free when you're in a marriage, but like, I talk to a lot of my friends, and they're like I guess that they feel like they can't do particular things because their wife won't let them, or like, I'd say that with quotation marks, like, I can't do that because I'm not allowed.
Oh, it might be an excuse or something like
right,
that.
but I never get that. She's always like, go do what you want, like, and that probably would be the worst thing I do, is maybe like try to control outcomes of things, like maybe smother, like push her into a certain... Sorry, I saw his flashlight. And I did that with my girlfriend prior. Like, I basically like shielding, maybe, like, didn't let her live her own life,
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, being overprotective or like overbearing or something like that.
Yeah.
So when that relationship ended, I tried to learn from that, but I still, like, I feel like, and I hope I don't do that with my daughter, like, push her into doing things that she doesn't particularly want to do just because it's like the safe thing to do, or like, I don't want her to be. So hopefully that I've learned from that. I think that's probably the worst thing, and that's mainly on my previous relationship with a girl. So probably being overbearing, overprotective, because I've looked at myself in certain situations with her and been like, man, I really wish, just let it go, let her do her thing. She lets me do my thing, like, so. I don't know. I think I do a decent job now that thinking back on my previous time and how we operate. We pretty much are autonomous, and not that marriage is a bad thing. Yeah. Not that marriage is like
it's work.
The end all be all of your life. You're fucked from there on out.
No, well, some marriages, but there's because my buddy and his friends. Their wife, well, his wife too is they're controlling, and he's like, oh, she doesn't control me. I'm like, yeah, but you need to ask permission to do stuff, and like, you don't have free time or anything. But like, my thing is like, it's a two-way street, it's work. It's supposed to be but to me, it's supposed to be mutual. Like, I don't think one has the power. Maybe one the husband or the wife may take the lead every once in a while, but one does. If you're truly in love with each other, one should not be outpowered the other one.
Exactly.
It's not supposed to be a control thing. It's supposed to be like
we came together.
We're going to work together, figure this out. I'm not gonna try one up you, and you're not gonna try one up me.
Right.
Yeah. We're gonna figure this out together. But this is the guy who I don't know. I didn't have many relationships, so the longest relationship I had was with my car. Yeah, that's about it. Actually, I have more cars than girlfriends. Now I'm thinking about, like, wait, I have more. I own more cars than girlfriends in my lifetime. That's
nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all wrong with that, dude.
All right. Well,
that's sick.
I want to thank you for inviting me to your home.
Oh yeah,
and doing this episode. It was a really great episode. I loved it.
Yeah, I loved the talk. Thanks for coming by. Sorry for like redirecting. Like,
no, this is
like we went down. Like
we're at 2 hours and 26 minutes. Not bad. Social media. Do you have any? I know the Facebook page, but people want to check out your surfboards and.
So I think on the Facebook, they're both the same. I think Ghetto surf.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got the Concrete Criminals one, which is not controlled solely by me. So I rarely get on there, actually. But that's for the band, Concrete Criminals.
Yeah, I'm going to write this down so that way I can put this in the show description.
Okay.
People could.
That should be about it.
That's about it. All right. Well, I want to thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for coming out, dude.
Ooh, what time is it? Oh, I feel like it's later. It's
I
only
know,
8.
man. The time changed. Like, it just...
It's like, wait a minute. It's like 10. All right, guys. Check out the website, atabooolife.com, where you can read some interesting articles, short stories, poems, because I am that sappy. And check out other episodes of the podcast, too. I hope you guys have a great night and, actually, great day, great night, wherever time you're listening to this. Just have a good one.